Karen's audacity reached a new extreme when she called the cops after my family refused to join her HOA, assuming that her boldness, entitlement, and intimidation tactics could coerce compliance. She believed that her authority as HOA president could override personal freedom and legal boundaries. What she did not anticipate was that her audacious action would backfire instantly when she froze upon seeing my wife's federal ID, exposing her overreach and leading to immediate accountability. It began on a warm afternoon when my family was gathered in our living room, discussing neighborhood matters and enjoying a quiet day. Karen, fueled by audacity and entitlement, arrived unannounced with a small entourage, demanding that we join her HOA immediately. She issued threats of fines, legal action, and social ostracism, fully assuming that fear and aggression would force compliance. I calmly observed the situation, documenting the interaction on video while ensuring my family remained safe. Karen's audacious behavior, meant to intimidate, was already being recorded in precise detail. Her boldness relied entirely on her assumption that HOA authority could supersede legal rights and personal boundaries, a grave miscalculation. Karen escalated her threats, claiming she would call law enforcement if we did not comply. Without hesitation, she picked up the phone and dialed 911, her audacity peaking with each word she spoke. She assumed that the cops would act in her favor, intimidated by her confidence and aggression. When the officers arrived, Karen confidently began her claims, detailing alleged violations and insisting that we were required to comply with the HOA. Her audacity, previously effective against neighbors, now collided with reality as the officers requested identification and documentation of the alleged violations. I calmly presented my wife's federal ID, which immediately halted Karen's tirade. Her audacious assumption that she could intimidate anyone, anywhere, evaporated in an instant. The officers recognized the gravity of her overreach. She had called law enforcement under false pretenses, attempting to enforce HOA rules that had no jurisdiction over federal employees or private property. Karen froze, realizing that her audacious plan had failed spectacularly. Her aggression, entitlement, and boldness, once a source of intimidation, had become the exact evidence of her reckless overreach. Every threat, demand, and action she had taken was now documented and directly contradicted by the presence of federal authority. Law enforcement officers issued warnings to Karen about false reporting, harassment, and overstepping her legal boundaries. Her audacious plan to manipulate authority and intimidate my family had instantly transformed into documented evidence of her recklessness. Cedar Pines residents, drawn by the commotion, witnessed the collapse of her bold persona. By mid-afternoon, Karen had been formally cited for harassment and false reporting, with officers emphasizing the seriousness of her audacity and overreach. Her attempt to assert control through intimidation had backfired completely, exposing her to legal consequences and public humiliation. The incident sparked a discussion among neighbors about entitlement, HOA authority, and the limits of audacious behavior. Karen's reputation as a bold, intimidating figure was dismantled, replaced with awareness of the consequences of reckless overreach. Her audacity, previously feared, had become the mechanism of accountability and caution. By evening, my family was safe, the officers had departed, and Karen's audacious attempt to manipulate, intimidate, and enforce compliance had resulted in documented legal action and public exposure. Cedar Pines residents learned vividly that audacity, when applied recklessly against law and authority, collapses under accountability and preparation. Karen's boldness, intended to dominate and intimidate, had spectacularly failed. Her entitlement and reckless audacity ensured exposure, legal consequence, and lasting public humiliation. Her audacious attempt to manipulate authority, relying solely on aggression and imagined power, had become her greatest liability.